Do you need to shorten your manuscript for publication in a journal? Not sure how to proceed? Hi, I'm Karen McKee, and in this video, I'll provide some tips on how to reduce the word count in your manuscript. Many scientific journals have word limits, so knowing how to shorten your manuscripts efficiently is a useful skill. The approach you take to shorten your manuscript depends on how much text needs to be cut. For example, you may need to reduce a 16,000 word manuscript to 8,000 words, or you may need to shorten a manuscript by only 1,000 words. If you need to cut a large amount of text, start by reviewing your findings and see if you can shift one or more results to a second paper. You might also shift some results in their description to supplementary information. For example, there may be data that don't directly support your main finding, but that might be simply referred to briefly in the main narrative. If you have included case studies in your paper, you might be able to drop one. Often, you can eliminate large sections of text and tables this way, and in the process better focus your paper on the main finding. Another way to shorten a paper is to eliminate basic information in the introduction, information that is widely known. Such verbiage often appears in a thesis or dissertation, but need not be repeated in a journal article because readers will likely be familiar with it. Avoid repeating text in multiple sections of your paper. The main concept should be described in detail only once in the introduction or discussion, but not both. The discussion should not be a repetition of the results. Inexperienced writers often begin the discussion by reviewing or summarizing the results. That's not necessary since the reader has just finished reading your results. Instead, perhaps restate the overall goal of your research and then dive into your interpretation of the results and comparisons with other work. Use your figures and tables to present your results. Don't repeat those data in the text except in cases where a particular value needs to be highlighted. Instead, describe the overall patterns in the data, not individual points. The conclusions should not repeat what has already been said in the results and discussion, but instead puts the work into a broader perspective or points out future research directions. In general, tighten up the writing. See if you can rewrite sentences and paragraphs to get your point across more concisely. There are several ways to do this. Avoid redundancy in wording and unnecessary words. In spite of the fact that can be replaced with although. On the other hand, by whereas. As a consequence, by because. In the event of, by if. This sentence is unnecessarily repetitive. To measure pore water salinity, we used a refractometer to assess salinity of interstitial water extracted from the soil. Instead, say, salinity of soil pore water was measured with a refractometer. Watch out for sentences beginning with there or it. It has long been known that wetland plant species exhibit different degrees of flood tolerance. Here, the opening phrase is not needed. Avoid extra text when citing other work. For example, Brown and Miller 2020 reported that mangroves were invading salt marsh in Louisiana. Stein and Williamson 2021 also observed mangrove encroachment into salt marsh in Florida. This can be shortened to, mangroves are replacing salt marsh in Louisiana, Brown and Miller 2020, and Florida, Stein and Williamson 2021. Omit unnecessary words. It's interesting to note, it has been reported that, of primary relevance. Use active voice, which often requires fewer words than passive voice. The leaves were subjected to isotopic analysis to assess plant nutrient sources. This is passive. The active version requires fewer words. Isotopic analysis of leaves revealed plant nutrient sources. You can also use shorter words. Study instead of investigate. Use instead of utilize. Aid or help instead of facilitate. You can also omit the term significantly. An effect is either significant or not. Salinity reduced the growth of the plants. F equals 10.1, P equals 0.001. In the second version, the F ratio and P value attest to the significance of the effect. Use abbreviations or acronyms for long phrases that are used multiple times in a paper. LAI for Leaf Area Index, RSLR for Relative Sea Level Rise. But don't use so many abbreviations that the reader becomes confused. You can also trim citations. You need to cite relevant work, but not every paper written on the topic. If some citations are redundant, select the most relevant or recent to illustrate your point. Doing this will remove words in the narrative as well as shorten the bibliography. Trimming a paper to meet word limits is particularly challenging for people who are not native English speakers. For example, coming up with a word to replace a long phrase. One solution is to use an AI tool like ChatGPT to suggest a shorter phrase or word. Well, those are a few ways to shorten a manuscript. Depending on how much text needs to be cut, a combination of these approaches will aid in meeting a word limit. You'll find that trimming the text will not only help you meet the word limit, but will focus your paper and improve the clarity of your writing. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to hit the like button if you found this information helpful.